Hello again. Mark with Mark's Minerals. How's it going? Tonight I'm carving some fire agate, Slaughter Mountain, a couple different pieces. I like to work multiple pieces at once. This way I can change bits less frequently. And if I get stuck on one piece, I can move on to the next one. Ultimately, after I've stepped away from it for a while, it gets a little easier to figure out. My shop is a filthy mess, and I intend to work on that sometime this weekend. I might find some rocks laying around that, might have to do another giveaway here. So, thanks for watching Mark's Minerals videos. I really appreciate everybody's support. Wonderful questions. If you have any more, please feel free to email me, mark.ruiz.fireagate@gmail.com. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Usually I get back pretty quickly, I believe. And without further ado, let's get to the rocks. Yay! Okie doke. So these 5 pieces are the ones I'm working on. All Slaughter Mountain from like the 80s and early 90s. I've been coming in and clearing out most of that white chalcedony just above the first layer of color. I don't want to dip into the layer. I don't really want to expose the color yet because right now I've been operating with a very coarse sintered bit, and this one's diamond impregnated, but it's got like a 6 millimeter layer of diamond on it. These are Diamond Pacific super coarse. This is like 60 grit. These rip through material quickly. If you're fond of ripping through quickly, again, this is another Diamond Pacific. It's a hollow bit. They're like $30, but they last quite a while. So, let's see. This is all extremely high-grade material. Red tends to be one of the more expensive colors and highly desirable. A pure, true red fire agate tends to be one of the more valuable ones. This is kind of a bronzy red, but when you have this on the top, it's a good indication that you're going to find some down below. So it might get to a dull green, and then right below that green, that's where I anticipate finding the red. Another very desirable color is this. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. Ooh, that's much better. All right. So you'll see this purple in the corner here. Purple to blue, the green, everything's in layers. So it's already been exposed. It got chipped off at some point, but it shows where I'm going to carve down to on the other layers. If you'll see here, there's a lip. Let's see if I can show some better detail of the fire agate. There is a lip right here where these layers have already been cleared off and exposed. You'll see where it even went past and back into the green, then back into clear chalcedony. But I know that I can pull a nice, good-sized purple-blue stone with some green and red highlights out of there. And also, that's just this one part of the stone that chipped. I've been clearing to get down to these other layers, and you'll see like there's this layer of common opal. If you see that common opal, that's usually a good indicator that you've got some good color deposited in there. Now, let me back off. This is too close. There we go. And you'll start to see the color. I'm still exposing. I want to get down to that green. That's the top layer. And from there, once I've switched bits, then I can start messing around with some other ones. Let's see. As far as a good cross-section, there's a nice, pure, really pretty red. Some green, these little micro bubbles. The magnification here is, let's see, this is 4.2 magnification. And now we're looking at the side, the cross section of the fire agate. you'll see it's these ridges, this little valley, is very similar to what you would see if you were to look at a topographical map. Start to think of these ridges and these lines as like mountains, and it's a lot easier to follow the contours to get around and to carve what you're into. Look at that nice bright layer popping up. You'll see that green yellow. And some of the brightest, most brilliant colors are in super thin layers. I mean, just, you're talking a fraction of a millimeter thick. See, it disappears? And it's over a dark color. So the dark behind, the really bright in front, it highlights it, and just the color will pop. So lots of little color layers through here in just infinitesimally small layers. And they're going to be super colorful because that's what this agate has been producing. That's what they've been showing. Nice greens, reds, purples, blues. So you just, if you don't know what you're getting, I would pick a little corner, a sacrificial corner, like this, grind all the way through, and just keep track of the colors you find. So if you find a nice purple or blue or whatever color you want, mark where it is, and then know it's going to follow this contour throughout the stone if the stone is continuous. There's exceptions to the rule, back out a little for this one, where these are multiple stones because the agate deposited in different layers. So you'll see these are joined. This agate deposited at a different time than this one, and then they kind of became conjoined. You'll see this where there's another layer down here. It's separated. And this is really common with some of these bigger Slaughter Mountain pieces. This is a nice bright red. Okay. Here's another one. This is a fun one because there wasn't a whole lot of chalcedony. By chalcedony, I'm talking about this clear makeup here. Technically, I think the fire agate is also in a chalcedony base, but the clear stuff is what we're getting rid of. A thin layer over bright color can provide really nice magnification as long as it's really clear, but if it's got this kind of milky quality, it's going to deter from the brightness of the agate. So we're just going to continue grinding through until I'm right above it and I can see the color clearly. So see, I still have to go down here. Kind of takes a dip. So this is a little bit of a valley, and I'm going to come in a little deeper here, follow up here, deeper here, follow up. And it's kind of like reading a map from the top down. You see where you go. Wherever it's super dark, that means that you still have chalcedony to get through. Where it's bright, leave it alone for now. So just continue to clear that up, and I see some pinkish red that's starting to become exposed with the green. So I'm just going to continue working these with this big old coarse bit, and I'm going to give you an idea of what I'm doing. Okey-doke. So it is going to get a little bit loud. Sorry for this in advance. At this point, you really need to be wearing a mask and have eye protection. I like to keep a thick, steady stream of water. This is a good way to keep down the dust. I've set up a spigot with some irrigation hose, and that's how I keep it moist. Gentle pressure, 2 to 3 ounces. I'm basically focusing on where I'm going because you're pulling off like 1/4 millimeter at a time each pass, and so you don't want to remove too much or you'll dip into that color really rapidly. And that's why I've got light pressure, slow speed. I'm worried about control. I want to make sure that I get a nice even layer. Focus on uniformity. One of the natural instincts is when you see that bright color, you want to speed up and get to it quicker. You need to exercise patience, because if you rush to it, it's really easy to break through because they are so thin. Let's clear this off quick. So I use a 1/8 inch plexiglass shield, and then I just use a sponge to wipe it off every time I get close. I'm going to switch bits. Again, gentle pressure, relatively slow speeds. And another reason why I'm using multiple stones at the same time. With these two bits, since I have two flex shafts, I can work multiple stones at the same time, getting them at least to about the same level before switching bits. Keep your bit moving. If you have to rest it in one area because there's a valley, you can set it, but check it every few seconds, because you're going to burn through very quickly. And you don't want to leave any tool marks in the stone or breakthroughs. That's why it's more advantageous to keep the stone moving. Well, that's kind of an idea of exactly what I'm going for. I'm just getting down to that layer right above the fire, right here, where the red is starting to become brighter, that orangish red. And I'm going to continue working down. Sometimes a trick I'll use is to take a Sharpie, take the stone outside and rotate it. Whenever it starts turning milky white or gray or black, I'll make a little mark, rotate it. If I see color, I'll leave it alone. When it goes black or dark, I just mark it. And then when I come back inside, I know exactly where to cut, right over the black marks. Leave the color alone. And the rest of it we'll do once we switch bits out. But that's just kind of an idea of rough work. Like I said, 60 grit, diamond impregnated or sintered. You can get really inexpensive bits that are going to do a great deal of work. One of my favorites are these tiny wheels. They kind of get in there really well. An inverted cone is a great bit. See these little cones? They're really great for getting down in there. This is a Varancor. These are sintered bits. They last quite a while, but they're pretty expensive. They're like 20 bits, $20 a piece, or 20 to 25. Anyhow, okie dokie. Thanks for watching Mark's Minerals videos. I just want to put a quick one out there with a little bit of instruction. I'm continuing to work the same pieces, so pretty soon you're going to see these pieces at the next stage, and we'll be right back. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't yet, please click like and subscribe. Thank you very much, and let me know if you have any questions. Have a great night.